Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the with Yankee. As usual, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today's topic is going to be, what's the best carry gun for women? And I know when you ask questions like this, like what's the best gun for my wife or what's the best gun for my mom, a lot of people will just kind of get flippant about it and go, yeah, whatever gun they choose, you don't get to choose for them. And that is true to a point. But when you're that flippant about it, I think you really miss an opportunity, because let's not try to pretend that most women introduce themselves to the shooting sports. It just doesn't happen in our society. Most women come to guns later in life, and they're usually introduced to guns by a family member, a friend of the family, someone, a male friend. That's usually who introduces them. So as a man who's teaching a woman, maybe for the first time, how to shoot a gun, maybe with the intention of carrying a gun, you got to be thoughtful about it. You don't want to start them off on the wrong gun. You don't want to hand them a Desert Eagle 50 AE and go, here's what shooting a gun's like, and scare them off. Or, a little 357 Magnum revolver with full house rounds in it and scare them off. You don't want to choose a gun that's going to be very difficult, abusive, etc. for the first time. So you really do need to think, because women are not men. As been a big national thing about that recently, how men can want to be a woman all they want, but they're not. They don't know what it's like to be one. So we have to take that into consideration. We have to do what we can. And I will tell you from experience, I have taught a lot of women how to shoot. Many family members, friends, dozens of women I have introduced to shooting. And I've always found pretty much the same thing each time. They tend to like a certain type of gun. They don't want things that are too abusive. They don't want things that are too scary. They don't want things that are too loud. They don't want things they have to do a lot of manipulations or flip a lot of switches on. And I have found that more often than not, I am most successful introducing women to shooting with a full metal 357 Magnum revolver with 38 special rounds in it. That's what they usually tend to gravitate towards. And I'll give them like 10 options of everything from Glock to, a Smith & Wesson Model 60. And they'll usually gravitate towards that revolver, simply because simplicity, not a lot of things you got to do. You got a lot of range of how powerful that caliber can be. It's easy to load. You don't have to fight springs or anything like that. So they actually tend to really gravitate towards the revolvers and the smaller ones that they can carry. Like, I've noticed that women really love LCRs and J-frame revolvers. And that makes sense. It's easier to conceal. A lot of them want to carry them in their purse, so they want something easy to carry in their purse. I don't support that idea, but, I understand that when I'm introducing them to the guns. And then maybe we can talk about how they carry it after we introduce it. So I've always found nothing too big, nothing too booming. It's not funny to take them out and watch them almost hit themselves in the forehead because you gave them too powerful a gun. It's not funny at all. You chase people away from the act of carrying a gun doing that. So I've always found, like I said, smaller revolvers, solid steel with a good weight, but shooting 38 special, maybe even 38 plus P through it, is the best way to introduce women to shooting. It's usually what they gravitate to. That's my opinion. Let's go over here and see if anybody else is weighing in and if they have different experiences or different ideas. Because like I said, these videos are supposed to be more about your opinions than mine. Edgar Cortez said, for a small woman with a small hand, the Lady Smith revolver in 32 mag. My screen just went out. Edgar Cortez says, for a small woman with a small hand, the Lady Smith revolver in 32 mag is a great carry gun and simple to operate. I bought it for my wife 20 years ago when I was working nights at the hospital. It's a sweet gun. I didn't know that coming at 32. Well, it does now, I know, at least. But yeah, 32s are also a great gun. Although I don't know, are there a lot of downloaded 32s to practice with? Because I don't want them to have to practice at the range with carry ammo, but I'm sure there's some good range ammo in 32, but I haven't ever had to buy any, so I don't know. Usually I start them with a 357 Magnum and I just put 38 specials in it. So, they get a not too big of a recoil, good experience with the gun. And I agree with you completely. Those are great guns. Travis No, T. Davis. Why did I say Travis? I guess, Travis makes sounds like he lives in a trailer. T. Davis, 3535 says Smith & Wesson 686 performance in 4-inch. Well, that would work too. That's a little bit bigger gun, but it might introduce them to the principles of shooting, and then maybe something a little smaller for carry. Because I think women have problems with larger guns carrying them because of the shapes of their body. They like things to be a little smaller because of that, I think. Well, I don't know. Some people told me that with my bosoms, I've got a fairly female shape now. But they do have to fight with different shape hips, etc. So, but as far as starting them off, I can't imagine that would be a bad choice. John Heasley said SIG P365. I would see that could work. I mean, I think they would like the size. I think they would like the fact that it's a very simple gun. You could shoot some really low rated 9mm for the range because they make 9mm that's very soft for the range. So it's not to overemphasize the negatives of that small gun. But I do think you have to be careful when you're giving them that small of a gun that they don't want it to be too recoily. And also with the smaller guns, I think some women don't like to have to manipulate slides, especially if they're like the girly girls that have a lot of nails. But, not all women have fancy nails or anything like that. So it's not a concern for everybody. So that would be a good option. And knowing the person you're actually doing it for, it probably helps you make that decision. Mr. Furley said Glock 43X, Smith & Wesson Shield, or EZ, Ruger LCR, Smith & Wesson 442. The Ruger LCR, that's the one my mom chose when I took her to pick out a gun. Took her to the range, let her shoot different guns, went for the Ruger LCR, just like a lot of women. My sister went for the 640, what she ended up with. They kind of go different than me. I always like to have that hammer. They kind of like the idea they didn't have to worry about cocking a hammer. Once again, break a nail, cocking a hammer. And that sounds like you're being dismissive of women. Oh, they don't want to break a nail. Well, I don't want to break my nails either. And if they're longer, that's one of the reasons I keep my nails very short, because if I don't, they break on things. And that's a painful thing. So I don't like that either. So yeah, they tend to like those guns like that. Now the other ones, same things with the 365. They're very small. So I think you got to kind of know the person there. And make sure you're not like sending them out with like the hottest 9mm you can and a tiny little gun. Dale Rickety also chimed in here and says, any Beretta tip-up barrel guns and or Smith & Wesson 637 airweight revolver. The 637 is an excellent gun to start ladies out on. They're 38 special anyway, so get a Hornady makes one that has the little pink ribbon on them, and they're very comfortable shooting rounds. They're still capable for carry, but they're a good, comfortable to shoot round. So that's a good way to start them. My sister uses those in her 640. That's what she's got that loaded up with. So that's a great option. Now the tilt up barrels, that's another thing that would probably be a good idea. A lot of women, especially if they're older and can't rack a slide, don't want a revolver, that might be something to look into. Now I will have to say with the older style ones, the lever was a little hard to push, and some of the women I let shoot it had trouble pushing that lever to get that to pop open, because there was a little lever on the side you pushed forward. And it was kind of behind the grip, so you had to really have good thumb strength to get down on it. Now it's a push button, and the push button seems to be a lot easier to use in the newer Tomcats, Bobcats, etc. And I've never used the newer like Gersons and stuff that do it. But now that it's a button, that makes it even better, because they don't have to load the magazine up, chamber around, drop the magazine, put it around in to get maximum capacity, and they don't ever have to rack the slide, really, unless there's a failure. First failure is to go have to rack the slide. So there is that, but most women can handle that easy. And it's not a hard gun to rack the slide on either. You'd think small guns would be hard. Those guns are not hard to rack slides on at all. Seems like there's a lot of different thoughts here on what guns. Just remember, your main goal when you're trying to introduce a female to shooting is not to scare them off. So many guys think, watch this, will be funny. She'll put this 44 Magnum, she'll smack her in the face or whatever, and I'll have a video for YouTube. And that just makes me sick to my stomach every time I see it. Makes me angry. Now, as far as what is the best gun for them to carry, it's whatever gun they like best. But since women do have things in common, just like men have things in common, it does help to know up front what kind of guns they're going to tend to gravitate towards. Give them all kinds of options, but make sure those things that you think they would like will be there as one of those options. And I guarantee you're not going to get that many surprises. Most women are going to like similar things. Now, there's always going to be the anomaly, but if you take it serious and you respect the fact that that is a woman and not a man without being condescending, I think you'll be very successful introducing women into the shooting sports or the shooting lifestyle and self-defense lifestyle. So I want to thank everybody who participated today. Thanks for coming. If you're someone who would like to weigh in on one of these topics, well, come to our live chats. We have them every night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, except for Wednesdays when they're at 7. So tomorrow, it's Wednesday. It'll be at 7. Come on in. Let your voice be heard. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.